after all that went on. So I returned to Philly after being away for 2.5 years. So when I returned, everything had settled back down, but during that time period, there were cars set on fire. You know, the Starbucks at City Hall was set on fire and totally demolished. They had major riots. It does provide for a show, if you will, and I wonder how controlled it is, even though the people rioting wouldn't want to know that, you know. So people higher up can sort of handle people down here and let them do a show of a, you know, protest, if you will, or resistance, and so forth and so on. So, cross up here, the only crosswalk is to do this zigzag if I want to stay on the west side of the street. That's what I need to be doing here. We'll cross to the middle and then we'll get the median strip point of view, if you will. I'm not sure how quickly these people will get the light or who gets it next. Either that car there or no, it's these people here. So that's City Hall, another angle. So City Hall is a mammoth square building plopped down on Broad and Market for the most part. I think we can make it here. So Friends Select School. So if you go here, hope, you know, I don't know, it's a good question. You know, it's kind of a tight-knit-ish community because they all sort of follow the same agenda or curriculum, and it's Montessori-ish is how I see them. So it's a Quaker school. Quakers aren't always innocent, you know. You can quake, you can rattle, you can, but anyway, we'll leave it at that. But it is, if I had kids today, I would actually seek out a quieter school like this, just based on my own experience as someone who went through the public school system and also someone who substitute taught and put a fork in. We're over with that. It's just charade. So I'm not really cut out to be a teacher of kids per se. I'm okay educating adults. I got a community college. People choose to be there. You know, schools are a lot different. You have to understand all the developmental stages of different ages and understand, like, you know, this is normal, because a lot of, you know, even a lot of parents are like, this isn't normal. It's like, well, actually it is, you know, and you have to sort of work with it and so forth and so on when kids sort of quote unquote rebel-ish, you know, or want to assert their independence and so forth and so on. So, but Friends Select, more Montessori-ish, so you would see like more open rooms per se, or sections where people, you know, have cubby holes for all their belongings, but also like carpet. Even at not just kindergarten, but it would be like, you know, even older grades and stuff like that. They might be more strict and disciplined in studies. I'm not sure. They, you know, of course they want their students to go on to succeed and excel. But it is a close-knit group. If you wind up there, they have scholarships available for people who think that they can't get their kid, you know, to go there, or they don't have enough money. There's potential. So we won't get into it. Also, to have a school like that, there are governing bodies, you know, controlling or handling certain communities. It could be good or bad. I guess it depends on how you look at it. But in a way, if you end up there, then you're around a whole bunch of people who operate a certain way, with a certain income and so forth and so on in their families, and the governing bodies might be able to provide a better situation. Life is hard enough as it is. I have no idea, to be honest, how people make it. There are people in positions who shouldn't be in positions, and you know, there are people who get to have money, and that's interesting. I wonder why they gave someone who's basically a sexual assault predator, who plays games his whole life, you know, the position of this, that, or the other, you know. Oh, I didn't know how bad it was. You know, I have a certain, you know, radar. It's almost like there's someone I knew who's really like a friend of the family, but her parents were my sister's godparents. And she said it's one of those things where you mind your own business. Trouble will find certain types of people. You like, She said this about her daughter. Her daughter didn't seek out trouble, but trouble tried to find her. And she, you know, was very active in all kinds of sports in school and everything. So it's like trying to figure out how to avoid those trouble people. And they can look good sometimes. They are in positions of power. They make a decent living. You have people who are better quality people who don't make as much. Case in point, me. I mean that from the deepest depths of my soul. And I know it. I know I'm a high quality person. And I know I'm a good person. And I know, you know, having been a senior editor and, you know, have held other positions that, you know, entail some responsibility and sort of, you know, sort of shuffling people one direction or the other. I can certainly do that. And did it well and made sure people were recognized who normally don't get recognized when they should have gotten a chance to be recognized. That's my style. That's a better style. And I can do those things, but all they need to do is send trouble to the door to try to ruin your life. And it's like, is it worth it to put up with, you know, overly sexualized innuendo in the workplace that's not being corrected or addressed? Is it worth it to see so much sexism go on and like bizarre forms of communication? And I left one of my employers for that reason, but only after acquiring a, you know, large contract to stay at home, like be a freelancer through Erickson Retirement Communities. And this was a time when that sort of, the idea of staying at home was very popularized because they had the .com industry. What's going on here? We got birds wanting to, people keep, you know, stuff happens, you know, birds. I've been seeing a lot of stuff out in the middle of the road for birds to collect. I always worry about the birds getting smushed. Instead of orange, we have this, what I call military blue, for the wheelchair grippers on the handicapped sidewalk ramps. And the same blue is over here for this sort of dry vac or whatever it is. They have to, I guess they're doing something here with this drain. This is interesting. Go through it. Manhole, rock, road safety, steam. So rock has been coming up a lot. Oh, vicinity, Devil's Pocket. They're from Devil's Pocket, so I would wonder if the money here is from the dark side. So vicinity is actually housed, like all the vans and the workplace where people show up to is located in what's called the Devil's Pocket area of Philadelphia. It's over by the South Street Bridge where the smokestacks are. So they deal with all kinds of things, utilities, so they're probably working on that whole steamy situation by Novo and Rock, whatever. So anyway, Verizon service wire on the ferry. That's called a ferry, that thing that looks like a giant spool for thread. I almost said thimble. Of course, a thimble is that metal thing you usually put on your finger to prevent a needle from poking your thumb or other fingers, whatever, when you thread needles. Are we going up this way?